Hey, y'all, I'm Shane Sams. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast today. For those who may not know, I'm a self-employed, location-independent, family-focused entrepreneur, and I make my entire living online. That was my dream when I started my business, but this podcast is not about me. I started this podcast to help you find success too by interviewing some of the biggest authors, influencers, and entrepreneurs on the planet. My mission is to unlock their strategies and tactics that my guests use to succeed so you can go out and find your success as well. Which brings me to my guest today, the pressure washing king, Jason Geiman, and he is a true online business master. Now, I met Jason a few years ago at one of my live events, and when he started out, he had nothing. He didn't have any members. He didn't have any online income. He didn't have anything. But what he did have was a great offline business where he was sending out pressure washing crews all over the greater Cincinnati area. And he had built that revenue up to 7 figures. Well, something happened and he had to let that business go, ended up selling that business. And when he was looking for a way to make money, he discovered online business through my Flipped Lifestyle podcast. Well, Jason joined our community, came to the live event, and he buckled down and he got consistent. He got prolific. He got relentless. And he has built an incredible multiple 6-figure membership website. On today's podcast, we're going to learn how Jason built his amazing online business so fast, primarily focusing on YouTube as a content channel. We're going to talk about organic growth, what is working best on YouTube right now to get discovered in search and start building more subscribers. We're also going to talk about YouTube ads. We're going to break down YouTube ads. We're going to talk about what works, what doesn't work, and how we can get better at finding new traffic and new audience using YouTube ads. We're going to talk about what it's like to literally go rags to riches, to grow up in rural Kentucky and all of a sudden strike it big on the internet. Jason is also from Kentucky, so you're going to get a lot of Kentuckyisms today on the show as we break down what it was like to go from normal railroad track, lower middle class jobs to 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs. And we're going to talk about all the mindset issues and the struggles that cause plateaus in your business. We're going to help you understand what to look for as you're growing, as you get stuck, so that you can move past those obstacles and those mindset problems and start your business growing again. And we're going to tread into dangerous, shark-infested waters, y'all, because we're going to talk about what it's like to work with our wives as business partners, because Jason also works with his wife every single day. I love Jason Geiman. He's a great, great, great guy, awesome husband, awesome entrepreneur, awesome dad, and I know he's going to help you elevate your game today. We go deep on this episode of the podcast. You're going to learn so much. I know it's going to help you out. So sit back, grab yourself a notebook and a pen so you can take notes, pour yourself a cup of coffee or a big old mason jar of sweet tea, and enjoy the show. Welcome to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now, we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. What's up, Jason Geiman?
Not much. I'm glad to be here. Excited.
The pressure washing king himself gracing the podcast.
Right.
And I think you might be the first Kentuckian I've ever had on the podcast with me. I'm pretty sure it's true. We got 2 Kentuckians on the show today, man.
Really?
Yeah, man. What part of Kentucky did you grow up in?
Northern Kentucky. Originally from Campbell County, and then we moved. I've been in Boone County for since I was about 10 years old. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, man. Well, I'm never leaving. I don't know about you, man. I'm Southeast Kentucky, born and raised.
Up here at the Florence, y'all.
That's right, man. You got the Florence, y'all. Yeah. What was it? Anna Joe asked me one time. We were driving through Florence, and she goes, "Why does that water tower say y'all?" And I said, "Because it's awesome." That's why. Yeah.
Well, you know the technical reason why it's Florence, y'all, don't you?
I do not know this story.
So originally it was supposed to be the Florence Mall, but it wasn't done at the time, and so they was not allowed to put the mall on there. So they went ahead and put Florence, y'all on it,
and then it became like an iconic thing that everybody in the state of Kentucky knows about.
You know? Everybody that drives up and down 75 knows about.
You think you'll live in Kentucky forever?
I don't know. I'm about tired of the cold weather, so.
Jocelyn's goal is to become a snowbird. She wants to come, and she wants to convince everybody to like do Thanksgiving and Christmas together around Thanksgiving time, and we just do that in November, and then we leave in December, and we stay gone through our birthdays in March. Then we come home in April.
I would love that, but my oldest daughter is in soccer, and that's kind of that's screwing me right now.
Cheerleading, that freaking cheerleading stuff, man. I love my kids' activities, and I'll tell you this for real, dude. I love cheerleading. Cheerleading, since we've gotten into it over the last few years, it's the best sport. There's no other sport that it's. I want to say it's the best sport because I still love football and I love other things. It's just unique, like the way it works. Like it's all team. Like there's no individual effort. Like if one girl doesn't do her job, somebody falls off the top of a pyramid, right? And like when you go to a competition, man, these girls practice like 20 hours a week to go out on stage for like 2 minutes. And some competitions, man, we're going to a competition in Tennessee this weekend. Some competitions are you get one performance. Sometimes they're two. Like you get two tries at it. Not this one. This is the U.S. Finals, last competition of the year before the World Championships at Disney Summit. You got one chance to get a jacket, and it's over. Like that, the pressure. Like I feel it when I'm walking up to the stage, man. I just want to die because like I can't imagine what the kids are feeling. You know?
Especially from people from BFE, Kentucky, where you all are down there, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, I didn't know. I thought cheerleaders were just on the sidelines. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know this was like a thing. And it's not just a thing, dude. There's this company. You talk about business. There's this company called Varsity, and the pandemic has really slaughtered them. It's been bad. So Varsity started buying all the other cheerleading competitions. Like imagine if you just started going around buying all the pressure washers, right? And you just became a monopoly. That's what they did. And they own UCA. There's all kinds of different little cheerleading names, but they kept all the names on them. So it looks like it's like Hardee's and Carl's Jr. Nobody knows they're the same place. And man, it's like a $3 billion with a B, like dollar empire. And dude, I see it when I walk in there, man. They got shirts, they got t-shirts. These uniforms are like $300 a piece. And when we the competition we go to in Atlanta before the pandemic, was like 40,000 kids and parents and everything participating. And it's wild, man. It's like a rock concert. There's 10,000 people in an arena for 8-year-olds cheerleading. It's ridiculous. America's stupid. What are we doing? It's ridiculous. But soccer is like that too. It just consumes your whole life, right?
It does. It does. And my youngest daughter is actually in dance, which she's going to start cheerleading here soon. Not competitive, but just
run from dance. Does she go do the dance competitions?
No, it's a Christian dance academy. So they do like one thing or two a year, one in the summer and one in the wintertime. And so her sister gets a lot of time. The older sister gets a lot of mom and daddy time because she gets games every weekend and where all she gets is, the one time a year. So
yeah, man, it's crazy, dude. Yeah. Those recitals and stuff, that dance stuff wore me out, man. I loved Ann and Joe doing it. It was cool. You're sitting at the recital and you give her the flowers afterwards and all that. But I was like, man, the day she said, I want to be a cheerleader, and it was awesome. I was like, this is amazing. This is absolutely. I went to the first competition we went to, and I didn't think anything of it. I thought, whatever, they're going to get up there and do it. Then I got in there and I watched, and there was like, you talk about preparation. These teams are in these hallways. You can't move. It feels like Disney at Christmas, and they're over there and they're getting their little spaces and they're practicing 8 hours before they go on to go through their routine. Just repetition over and over and over again. And I was hooked. I was addicted. I cried the first time they won, dude. Just freaking bawled. Just cried, man. Like I felt like my own state championship game. But it was pretty cool. So you got an interesting story that I really want to dig into a little bit, and then we'll talk about some other things, because I think you and me have a unique perspective on the rags to riches situation. You know what I'm saying? But yours is really cool because you've actually built an amazing physical business, blue collar physical business, to a really super successful thing. So I want to talk about that. And then you built the online business, and it's just become this awesome thing that's got incredible potential to blow up even more. So take me back to before you started the pressure washing business. Like, what were you doing before you started you decided you want to be a pressure washer,
So my trade is I I was actually homeschooled. So I was one of those kids before it was really cool way back when.
Now everybody's being homeschooled. Everybody
everybody's
half the
homeschooling right now. They're drinking their wine and trying to get through the days. And this was before
the parents and the children. I'm just kidding.
This was back in the day, that religion was really the reason why a lot of people homeschooled. And that's what I was one of those kids. And so, but through that, I was able to get a full ride through a college, Northwestern up in Ohio for auto diesel mechanic. I'm really good with my hands. And so I was a mechanic for a while, and I started working on fire trucks, which that led me to become a full-time fireman. And there is where I decided to start my pressure washing business. And
was it just for extra money
it was just for extra money. My wife worked at Toyota at the time, the one here in the headquarters here in Erlanger before it moved up to Michigan, where her job went to. But so we was just one of the guys came in and he's like, man, I want to pressure wash these houses down here. And I worked on heavy equipment and I did plenty of pressure washing. I was like, you're stupid, man. Cause I remember pressure washing, you get all nasty, greasy. And I'm like, that's stupid. Well, I started to try to figure out what more about it. And I got online and I started teaching myself. And, this was the day back in forums before Facebook. They had these things called forums for the old people out there. And so I've started learning everything. And before this, I'm a very visual person. Don't like reading. I hate reading. I hate it. The reason why I talk about that is because as the story goes on now, I actually enjoy listening to audiobooks and stuff like that. But before that, if it didn't have pictures, I wasn't looking at it. And so I started learning about pressure washing. Well, pressure washing is the easy side of things. That's the easy part of the business, and that's what, I grew my business to over $1 million up here in Cincinnati, greater Cincinnati area as a service business. And that's the easy part is the pressure washing. The part that's the hard part, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about local business or if we're talking about the other side of even online business, is the marketing side of things. And so that is where I really started pushing my local business, was through the marketing, doing Google AdWords, Google My Business, and all of that kind of stuff, and doing local SEO and stuff like that. And that is what grew my pressure washing business to that $1 million.
Now, did you hire a bunch of people? You had people working for you doing this, right? You would send out teams to do the pressure washing while you guys got the gigs and started learning how to actually get the word out, correct?
Yeah. So at the end, I had 4 crews going out every day.
Wow.
And our goal was $1,500 to $2,000 a day per crew. So that's kind of how we grew it. And yes, that allowed us to get to the next level. And by us doing that is getting out of the business and starting working on the business. And so my side of the things was really marketing. I enjoyed, I went down the road and, there's SEO out there, and SEO is snake oil at the end of the day. There's a lot of people that sell SEO. And I'd probably spent $5,000 before I figured out that these people were full of crap. A lot of people. I'm not going to say everybody is, but there's a lot of snake oil out there.
Dude, I heard a great thing the other day. Like when we think of SEO, like here's the way I think about it, and you probably think about it similar now. I first think like, what are humans feeling and thinking and typing in the computer? That's the only thing I really care about SEO. And then I do have to think like, well, what are the concepts, the big picture things that the algorithm would look for? Like just the titles, the strategies. But I was listening to a podcast. There's an awesome podcast called Lex Fridman, the Lex Fridman Show. And he was talking to a guy about the YouTube algorithm. And these guys are like computer science geeks. They're just like going to town on it. Like me and you talk about marketing, and they're like, they don't even understand YouTube itself. No one at Google or YouTube actually even understands how the algorithm works. It's so powerful and it's so big and it's so monstrous. Like there's not a human alive that actually understands why your recommended things are your recommended things. Like they understand the principles of it, but nobody can figure it out. So like it is crazy that gurus would come up and say, I know exactly how to rank to number one. And some people do get there, but it is weird, man. Like you say that, like, do you really, the people that built it don't do it, but you do? Come on, bro. Come at me, bro. I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying?
Especially on the local side. The local side is a little bit different than the online side. It's all the same at the end because we're still trying to feel that, we're still finding those pain points of customers and stuff like that. And the local side, there's people out there all the time being like, well, we get you, but it takes time. It takes 6-12 months. Well, I've spent $5,000 already. And I'm like, we're not showing up. We're not getting jobs. What do I need to do? And so that's when I started really, getting more educated about the online space. I got my pressure wash Cincinnati. It still ranks number one, and it hasn't been touched in about 3 or 4 years since I've sold it. And, and so that shows you that if you put a lot of hard work into it, sometimes it will rank and stuff like that. And
I wonder too, though, if that's like, there's an interesting connection there. Like when you're doing like your blog, or you're doing like anything that you're trying to rank in a search engine, YouTube especially, because YouTube is weird. I don't know. It works so different than the blog posts. But like Elementary Librarian was like that. Like we just went to number one and dominated it and never went away, no matter what happened. And I don't think it was because we were so savvy in 2012 about SEO. It was because we focused on really, really good content. Like Jocelyn really focused on every single blog post. So it was really good content. The content actually solved problems. It was hyper relevant, like to everything that librarians were actually going through, right? And people used it. Like the time on page was really long on those websites, whether it was my football coaching site or whatever. Like it wasn't like 6 seconds and out like normal blog posts. It was like, no, this is the thing I was looking for. So I wonder if that's really the human element. Like if you just focused more on that. Like you're focusing on the local area, what people really need, and then you go out and actually do a great job pressure washing. So they forget you next year. They go back to the website, and that's more relevant. You came back, right? Yep. So I think it's just the combination of service and thinking about your customer. That's how you really find the right people on the internet, right?
Yeah, and there's a great book about that too. They Ask You Answer from Marcus Sheraton that talks about getting that information that what are they asking? And he grew a big pool company business, and it's the same thing. And he was saying in the book that, there was people that would read like 300 pages of his blogs and stuff. They would just go down the rabbit hole of just keep getting deeper and deeper because he was giving the information that they wanted to know.
Yeah, whether it's pressure washing, online business, freaking anything, you just got to give them. You got to answer their question. I said this. I actually said this accidentally at the first Flip Your Life Live event. It wasn't in my original script, but someone said something, and I was answering. I can't remember if it was during a presentation or I was answering another question, but I said out loud, you're actually, how like people say like you're one funnel away, you're one ad away. I mean, you can speak the days on ads because we can't get none of them to work half the time. But like everybody says that you're one ad away, and we're all just throwing mud on the wall. Let's get realistic. But someone said something, and I said you're actually only one question away from somebody giving you money. And I said that out loud, dude. And was that the one? I can't remember if were you at the first one or the second one?
I was at the second one.
You're the second one. This was at the first one. And I said this. I have never seen anything like that happen in a room. I said that out loud. You're one question away, answering one question away from someone giving you money, whether it's first money or next month's retention. Everyone in the room started ruffling and whispering to each other and wrote. I saw like every head in the room look down and start writing in their notebook. And I was like, oh my gosh, and I started saying it. I said it 2 or 3 times in a row because I recognized like I had said something accidentally profound, right? And it's what you're saying here. It's like when we're trying to get ranked on Google or we're trying to get found in Facebook or we're trying to whatever, answer the questions that your people have. And if you answer them more and better, people will give you money. That's just the way it is.
Well, and then so from going there, I went into the YouTube, and that's kind of how I grew my membership is through the YouTube. Is I've been pushing the YouTube for the last 2 years, or actually about 3 or 4 years. But the last 2 years is when I kind of got listening to you, being prolific, being relentless, and being consistently. I'm putting I'm putting about 4 YouTube videos a week up, different things. And again, a lot of it is just how to build equipment, how to I know the more I've done it, I've taken classes on it, the more I kind of figure out, what are people looking for? And then even as YouTube evolves, it's more about storytelling. If you can tell a good story, I mean, you can hold people's attention. And so even learning, the hero's journey and taking that and putting it into a video of having the villain and, having the victor and all of that stuff goes a long way into growing your YouTube channel. So
let's back up 1 second here. So you come to pressure washing. One, I love episodes like this because it's amazing. I mean, you see all the people in our community too. And it's awesome to see guys like you arise up in the community and start from nothing and build something crazy online. It's just so impressive what you guys have built. And so you hear about this online thing. Was it you were not really wanting to get out of the pressure washing business at this time? You're just wanting to see if you can add additional revenue, or were you like, wow, I think I'd rather do that? How did you, and then this was before the YouTube and the membership and everything. What was the thought process of adding online income to the offline stuff?
So it was kind of, I've been listening to you since probably 2015. And it was kind of one of those things of, I wanted it originally to add it to the pressure washing business that I had at the time. And then at 2018, my business partner decided he wanted out. So then that's when we had to sell the business. And then that's when I had to go all in on, let's get this membership working. And so that was in August. And then in September or October, whenever Flip Lifestyle Live was, that year.
So this was a true pivot. This was hey, we've been doing this, but something changed in the dynamics with my partner. So we decided, hey, let's just all leave it behind and go. But now you've found this other stream of income so you can go on, and you decide to go all in on YouTube. So this is fascinating. So how did you grow your YouTube channel? Like, how did you, we talk about being consistent, prolific, or relentless. That's like the baseline stuff. But like, what kind of content were you creating? Because I think everybody out there knows that like there's 2 or 3 games in town. There's the YouTube game where you're creating content. There's the podcast game where you're creating content, or there's the blog game. Like that's really it. Like everything else is social media and support, right? So like you can grow an audience on social media like LinkedIn and Facebook and things like that, but you're still making audio, video, or text, and the 3 search engines that run those are podcast and that. So like, why YouTube, and how did you initially start out deciding to grow it? Just, I'm going to make more videos than everybody else, or what?
No. So when we went to Flip Life, I went, and from there I was doing YouTube videos of so often I wasn't being really consistent, prolific, or any of that. So I had started, and at the start of that year, I kind of made a goal of doing one a week, and I kind of fell off of that. And so when that came, I started doing lives, YouTube lives. So I started doing 1 YouTube live a week, and that made it all the way up to January. And in January, I really went all in. I put everything down. So I went to 2 lives a week and 2 videos a week.
Wow.
And I just hammered hard on that, and it just took off, and that's what I've still been doing. I'm trying to get out of the hamster wheel of a little bit of trying to get to the ad side of things versus just, pumping, just keep pumping content out.
What got more attention, the lives or the edited videos? This is an interesting concept. One, I think it's amazing how we always try to look for the secrets and the tricks, but usually brute force is the best way to do it. And we're like, hey, we want more downloads. We'll add a podcast and more people will find you. Hey, we want more video views. We'll add a video. But like, what do you think worked better? The edited, thought out, planned videos, or the lives? Like, what gave you more ROI on your time?
I believe the ROI is giving me more on the ROI side of things, just because the lives.
Did you say the lives?
The lives are, because that's kind of where people can come in, ask questions. I'm usually giving education for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then I'll just sit there and answer questions for 20 to 30 minutes. And I think that's one of the things that not a lot of people will do. And that's the reason why that has helped me out so much to be able to grow. I'm getting anywhere from 100 to 150 people every Sunday night and Thursday night a lot of times. So wow. It's kind of like you always say, you put 100 people in a room. That's what it basically is at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's like you're going to a conference and speaking on stage every Sunday, and at a 10% close rate, you could get 10 new trials or 10 new people on your email list or 10 new anything out of that room based on how you structure everything. And they're always Q&A, or do you teach too?
A lot of times I'll get a question that I'll answer, and I'll go in depth a little bit of, the biggest one that I have to deal with is the mindset on any time anybody starting a new business is hard. The mindset of being able to charge $400 versus a $99 guy. And so I'll hit those hard of, and just tell people, and you do the same thing. Yes, you can do it. There's nothing special about me. I mean, I've got people that, with the pandemic made over $100,000 last year. And there's one guy was a chef. Another guy is a firefighter. There's nothing special. I got one guy in Florida did over $150,000 and he's doing it's part-time, but when I say part-time, he's still probably putting in 40 hours, 50 hours a week on the pressure washing, but he's also a full-time firefighter on top of it. So.
Wow. But he's making a ton of extra money, man. And that's really interesting because, we all on YouTube's, here's our YouTube strategy that we did. So I think this is good because I think I'm doing this. I'm making a mistake not focusing more on YouTube, because I think YouTube, if it's not the future of what people should be doing to create content, it's at least you should be putting half your time in it if you're a podcaster, because podcaster, the algorithm can change. You know what I mean? But we post Q&As on there, but they're recorded. And we grew our YouTube channel last year. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we've got a lot more views now. I'm just going for views. I've not really focused on subscribers yet because I want views. I just want to come up kind of the SEO type strategy. Like, I know if I answer a question, somebody's going to do it. And we almost doubled our views in a year, right? But when you do that live component and you're willing to differentiate yourself and you're just accessible, it's going to make people pay more attention to you. And also what you said was really fascinating about how you do the lives, how you actually produce the lives, you actually make the lives out there. You're focused on inspiration, motivation, and mindset, which is going to push people to the next level. You've got to break down all those objections first. But my YouTube channel is, a lot of the Q&As come from our member calls. So these are more technical, like how do I do the sales page? What do I charge for my membership? But I think if we would focus more on the mindset, then our YouTube channel would probably grow more, because that's what people are probably typing into Google or YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a lot and I just started doing podcasts this past year too and that's my Sunday night live is usually I bring another person on, whether it's somebody that's been in the industry forever or they're just starting out. It's hard to get the people just starting out because they're too afraid that, they're not there. They don't know. But those are the people that I love helping the most, because I can get the most success out of those people of getting them to that next level, building that confidence, getting them to understand that they can do it, and I think that's the part that I like the most. And that's the reason why I like putting that onto podcast. And, my podcast is starting to blow up. I don't know if I'm getting any traffic from it yet, but that's just one of those.
What are you hosting on? You hosting on
Buzzsprout?
Buzzsprout may have this. I just found this thing on Libsyn. Listen to this. It's crazy. Podbean has it too. So there's a thing called dynamic ad insertion and ad stitching. I think we've talked a little bit about this in the mastermind group, but we set this up this week. We should have it activated by Friday, and we're going to be able to do time relevant ads. So I can record a 1-minute thing that says, hey, this is Shane. I've got a webinar on May 15th. where I'm going to be answering these 3 questions. Love for you to go there. Go to flippedlifestyle.com/webinar or whatever, right? And that's not even a real URL, so don't type that in, people, as you listen to this podcast. But like, now we can do time relevant, like no replay. It's going to be live. We can do ads for opt-ins. I think we're going to be able to understand the ROI a lot better with this dynamic ad insertion pretty soon. And that might be something you can use to do it, because you can change the ad and it automatically puts it on not just your new podcast, every single podcast you've ever recorded at the beginning or in the middle of that show will get that ad. That's great. That's awesome technology. It's been around for a while, but I've just not had bandwidth to pay attention to it. But we're going to crush it, man. I think doing that,
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting anywhere from like 700 a week downloads on it. So, I mean, I know I'm getting people listening to it, and I haven't really changed my ad in the front or in the end. And that's probably something that I need to do to start testing to see.
Yeah, the frequency just becomes like ad blind. They get used to the pitches and all that stuff. Let's talk about. I'm gonna get into some more stuff. I got some questions that I think that you and I are uniquely qualified as fellow Kentuckians to answer, that grew up probably with not a lot of money. So it's not as much money.
That's part of the mindsets that I have to deal with. A lot of people that I'm dealing with are people that are making, $15, $20, $30 an hour. So we're dealing with people that are only making anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000. And to deal with those mindsets and I've had to deal with them, and I'm still dealing with them. The poor mentality is a mindset that, the religion mindset of, money is evil, no, the love of money.
You charge the little old lady $400 to pressure wash her house. How dare you? Yeah, but it costs $350 to get the truck there, people.
But they don't understand their numbers at the end of the day. And that's the problem. So.
All right, let's talk about something more technical first, and we're going to get down the rabbit hole. I got 3 good questions for you. Everybody's going to laugh when we start talking about these questions here in a minute. All right, I'm playing a little seed for later to keep everybody on the hook. So me and you have been wrestling with YouTube ads and Facebook ads. And, it's funny because we're all good and bad at some things. Now, I do have some traction going on my Facebook ads right now. We've got an opt-in, dude. We're getting emails, which in our space, this is ridiculous. As of right now, we're getting like probably a dozen a day on not much. We just got like $25 a day going right now because we're starting to ramp up. I got one converting at $3 an email, which for us is insane to get $3 an email. And I've got one going, right? But the YouTube ads and the Facebook ads are a weird game, but you have to figure it out to get to the next level. Like the ad game itself is just like you've grown your business with ads and, pressure washing business things. What do you think but I want to focus on the YouTube ads. Based on what we've been looking at over the last, few months, what do you think the biggest difference is? What's the separation between the ads and why it's so hard to get these YouTube ads to convert? But it's so much easier to get the content to get in front of people and get people, right? You can only go so far with content, but what do you feel like right now after some experience with the YouTube ads is kind of the hard part about it?
I'm ready to put a bomb on it and just
destroy all architecture of YouTube ads, man. It's so frustrating. We got we have 10 smart people in a room and we have talked about this, man. And everybody's talking about it. But it really is hard to get those YouTube ads to convert. And I can't figure out why.
And then it makes me want to think down, because see, I'm pretty decent at Google ads.
You're awesome at ads in general.
I'm good at AdWords in general. I can get pressure washing business all day long for these pressure washers, but for me to get business for myself is like a nightmare. And so the YouTube side of things, I understand the pitch, and I've been watching videos and trying to learn and different things, and the pitch and all of that kind of stuff and hammering down. But it's one of those things that, and it's not like I haven't spent money. I've probably spent $2 or $3 grand on.
Oh yeah, you've done, and your videos. You went out and produced them, recorded them, edited them. You know what I'm saying? And you've put, I mean, we've looked at them together. It's a weird thing. I wonder if it's like this. Like, I'm thinking about our conversation today. And anybody else, if y'all run YouTube ads out there, holler at us. We're real good at organic YouTube over here, but it's the YouTube ads that we're struggling with, people. But hey, it's entrepreneurship. You got to figure it out. But like the YouTube ads themselves, I wonder if it wouldn't be better, like your videos about mindset that are just like, hey, it's Jason. Got a question from Bob today. He's asking, hey man, is it really? Are we really doing an ethical thing here, charging $400 for whatever? And then you just answer like a mindset question, and almost like it's like a Trojan horse. Like they look for that question, they find the video, but you're in front of it, so you get to answer the question first. I'm wondering if something like even more real and more organic wouldn't be the way that you would do it there, instead of like Facebook. You're kind of expecting to see commercials. Like on Facebook Watch, because it's like interruption marketing. That's how they do it. But YouTube is like, dude, I'm here to look for the answer, and you got in my way of my answer. I wonder if that would work better than even the commercials themselves. You ever tried that?
I did. My last one, or the one I got running now, is basically it's an ad. It's on my landing page too, of me doing a video of breaking things down of how to make $100,000 or 30. I think it's $60,000, and the customers you need and just the mindsets. But it's not converting worth a poop. So
yeah, man. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I wonder if there's this awesome concept called first principles. Have you ever heard this before? So like Elon Musk, is first principles basically you keep breaking apart a problem until it's the smallest thing is true, right? So Elon Musk wanted to buy a rocket so they could send people into space. So he went to Russia and they wanted like $65 million for a rocket. And he's like, good Lord Almighty, I ain't paying you $65 million for a rocket. And I'm sure he said it just like that, right? So what he did was, though, he get physics and engineering and people like that. They try to remove all bias by doing these first principles exercises. So he said, well, what's a rocket made of? So they broke down all the parts where you got this motor and this engine and this wing. So he goes, well, what are those parts made of? Well, this is made of this component. Well, what are those things made of? So you get down to the part where it's like, well, this is made of 20 tons of aluminum, and this is made of 42 tons of steel, and this is a pound of cobalt or whatever. They just keep breaking it down. So he gets it down and he breaks it, and he's got all the pieces, the raw materials basically. And he's like, oh, well, we can buy all those raw materials for $2 million. Now all we have to do is figure out how to put it back together. Right. So that's it though. That's what they did. And that's like first principles kind of thinking, So I wonder if breaking it down like that, like you look at the ads that aren't working, right? Like it's more of these ads, like it's like high level, deep strategy. But we look at where success is, like what do we know is true? Well, we know when we answer a mindset question, people respond. And then you go back one step farther. Oh, well, but wait a minute. I bet people are typing in these mindset questions. Oh, if that's what people are watching, wouldn't it make sense that the ad game would also be the same? Why should it be different on YouTube specifically? I'm not talking about Facebook, right? So I wonder, I may test this, dude. I may go find my best question. I may find my highest ranking question that I've ever done on my YouTube channel, which is a 5-minute video answering a specific question. I'm going to go see what I'm actually ranking for, and I may just run some ads to that, because I do have a pitch at the end of every single Q&A, and I wonder if that would be better than just a big produced ad, because that is an ad, and you're going to
see. That's the problem that I'm dealing with is, and then maybe I need to look at more of this of, the people that are searching for, or my biggest videos are how to pressure wash a house, how to start a pressure washing business. Maybe I need to just hammer on more of those too, and break it down of let's use this first principles methodology on that question, like how to pressure wash a house. That's my number one video right now. Okay, so what would be the real question, right? It's like going to the doctor. My head hurts. Well, you've got a tumor. Like they're going to dig down and find the truth of why your head's hurting, right? I think I'm dehydrated. No, you're not, right? Or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So like if you look at that question, they are thinking big picture. They're thinking how to pressure wash a house, right? So if you start like breaking that question down, what are the parts of that? Well, what are the potential answers, or what made them think that question? Maybe they were driving home and they saw a guy pressure washing a house, and it occurred to them
I could make extra money doing that. So maybe then they recurred to them, man, if I only had $500 a month or something like that, like how can I get, so maybe it's like, how do I get a pressure washing job? What is the question you could hijack there and answer quickly, right? And start your video with, I bet you're wondering how to pressure wash a house. And then you can pivot to, but the first thing you need to do, or how to make money pressure washing or whatever it is. But the first thing you have to do is get a good pressure washer or something like that. I don't know what the answer is. These answers aren't easy like you just think of them. It's like you sit with a notebook and a pad, a cup of coffee, and you got music in your ears and you're just thinking for hours at a time. But if you could hijack that question better, hijack's a terrible word, but hijack, then they would watch your video and get the actual answer they need. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the fundamental truth behind the how to start a pressure washing business? Why are they thinking that? What is the mindset issue that's stopping them? I don't know. I don't know what that is, but that would be an interesting way to try to run a YouTube video, is just don't do this big produced commercial. Just be like, okay, they searched for this. I'm going to start with that. But as the doctor, I'm going to pivot to what I actually need to tell them. But it's like a Q&A. It's not like a thing. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. What do you think?
No, and I agree on that. And that's probably what I need to hit on even more, because a lot of times people come into my group wanting to know how to pressure wash, and that's not the most important part, but that's what they think is important, and that's kind of where, because I can do marketing videos, I can do that, and they don't do near as good as how to pressure wash.
Yeah. Yeah. That's weird. And maybe, okay, this is fascinating. Let's say we're getting to something here. So the raw material there is they want to learn how to swing the hammer. That's what they want. And that's what they're looking for, right? And it's in relation to the business, of course. They know that that's a goal, but they think to themselves, well, shouldn't I know how to do this first? It's almost like in online business, people always think they have to build their website first. I don't know what in the world. I think it's just because website companies are really good at marketing. Mm-hmm. They always think they got it. I'm like, that's part 5. You got 4 other huge steps you got to go through before you can even think about building a website, right? But if someone searches for, I don't want to start an online business. I got to build a website. How to build a website. And I want to get in front of that on YouTube. I can't go in and go, you think you need a website, but I'm going to tell you how it is. Sit down, children. I'm going to tell you the truth. Right now, I have to go in and go, here's how you build a website. Or like, how do I price my membership? That's the second question people always ask. I'm like, you ain't even got a membership to price built, and you want to price it? What are you talking about? And really, the real thing is, I got to answer that question to even build the trust. Right. And we do that with our content, but we don't always do that with our ads. And I wonder if there's a first principle there. That's the atom that builds the wood that builds the house. Is answer their freaking question and quit trying to tell them what you think they need to know.
Even if you can get it in with the hook, you know what I mean? Get in that first 10 or 20 second hook that you got to really reel them in with the hook side of things.
Yeah, you could answer a question like that too. Like let's say that I know that someone wants to start an online business or a membership, and they type in like how to price my product or how to price my membership. I could be like, hey, I bet you're wondering how to price your membership. That's a great question. What we have found after coaching hundreds of people,
you just charge $1 million and then
charge $1 million.
Sign right up.
Just right. Exactly. But like, just tell them something like, normally you can charge 25, 50 or 100. Here's why you can do each of those things. Now, look, we know how to price a membership now, but the next thing you need to do is X. Let me show you how to do that in my next video. Click here. And then it like pulls them into your fold more, but it's like not really selling or getting an opt-in or anything. There's something there to that. I think, like, can you answer their specific question instead of one of these freaking crazy ads that everybody hits skip on to make that work better on YouTube? It's interesting.
Well, and I think that's the importance of that 5 seconds of you got to make something that's crazy that they're willing to listen to.
You almost have to say, it seems like you almost have to say their question back to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know how like a good school teacher, like we're taught that in college, like it's like when someone says like, hey teacher, what is 2 + 2? 2 + 2 is a great question.
Right.
The answer is 4. Here's why. Like that, just repeating their question back to them almost says to them, this video is actually what you thought it was, what you were looking for, even though there's a video after this that you saw in search, right?
Yep.
So I think I'm going to test some of this. I like this is valuable. I think there's something to it, like building those audiences first and not going straight for the opt-in. Or the opt-in exists. Like you can make them click to a page. That's the next step, but that video has an opt-in on it. So like, that's a good way to get the opt-in too. Cause you're building it's not really, it's a funnel, but you're just building it slower. You're slowing down a little bit.
And then I know most people say that the side of things of trying to do it in that do it before the videos versus the actual video itself. I wonder if we did, and I haven't ran many videos of this. I've ran a few, but I've never had much luck. I didn't do no how-to videos or nothing like that. Maybe that's what I need to do of, how to start a pressure washing business, have a 5-10 minute business as an ad, or, that's showing up, and see if I can pull anything more that way.
That would be retargeting, but I would think like how to start your pressure washer would be a good ad. Like how do you freaking even turn one on? Right. And you're like, like someone says like, how to start a pressure washing business, and your video is like, man, I bet you want to start a pressure washing business, but here's one of the things that hangs people up. Do you even know how to turn on the pressure washer? So give me 10 seconds. I'm going to show you how, then we'll get you to your next video, or I can show you how to do more of this stuff. Right. And you just like have this real quick cut. You put the hose on here. It's like one of those TikTok videos where they teach you how to cook a chicken, and they do it in like 5 seconds. And it's like, whoop, 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 whoop. And then you're just popping there, man. I teach people how to do this. You can go watch this other video, but the next step after you've learned how to turn this thing on is you learn how to get it on the truck. Let me show you that. Click the link below and I'll show you the video. But that goes to the page off YouTube,
right,
where the opt-in is, but you've got that video waiting on them there, and then they're ready. Then they're primed to like give you that opt-in. Like that seems like a much simpler way to do the ad than to make a big pitch at the beginning. It's not as aggressive. I think that's more for retargeting, the aggressive stuff.
Yeah, I agree on that, because that's one of those things. I mean, I get people, some people think that I love the people, you gotta be a mechanic to do all this stuff. And I mean, it does take some skill to be able to do it. But I mean, I got a guy that just went through, I do an in-person training too, about once a month. And I really like doing that because it kind of gets me out of the garage here where I know it looks like a nice wall here, but it's actually a green screen. And, but, and I can get to meet people and just to get out of the house now that I've fully retired from the firehouse. But, he's a male nurse, and he's like, I've never touched a pressure washer before.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's something you can figure out. It's a system. You got a system that does it.
Exactly. And I would rather have somebody that got some business sense than a person that's got the technician mind.
Yeah, you can teach the technique stuff, but to run a business, you got to have a different kind of mentality.
It's the book E-Myth. I'm sure you've read E-Myth.
Oh, yeah.
But, having that technician mindset.
The chef shouldn't be in charge of the restaurant most of the time. Most of the time. It's a hard nut to crack, man, but we're going to crack that nut, son. All right.
I hope so, because I'm getting tired of making so much content. So,
dude, I'm telling you, man. But this gives you, I see that's interesting too. It gives you a way to, you sucked me back in the rabbit hole. I was at the lip trying to crawl out of that rabbit hole. You just grabbed my foot and pulled me right back down. But everybody else is like, keep going, YouTube. But like these Q&As that we do, I work an hour and a half and I can record 15 Q&As. That's 15 YouTube videos. So I can do 2 Q&As a month and have a video every day of the month. We've had like 900 videos posted or something now on YouTube. It's crazy. But
how much does that really help? Is it taking off at all, or is it?
I know we've tracked it, and we know we get members from it. Not a lot. It's a percentage point. I mean, it's 5% maybe of all the people that ever sign up. But it's just right now. It's just like we're keeping it busy for when we're ready to focus on it. But what would be good is be prolific. Like, for example, like go post these daily videos. That's daily. Right. Then look at them once a week. Which one was the best traction last week? Maybe one gets 1,000 views and one gets 10. Who knows?
Right.
And just take that and take that video and edit it and put a little pitch on the end. Well, they all have a pitch anyway. And like throw that up as an ad. And it's like, if you think about it as you're doing the Q&A, you can always be like, repeat the question at the beginning. It's a great question, how to start a pressure washer. That's a great question. Let me answer that for you. You answer it, and then you can turn that into an ad. And as long as it leads to the next step, you might have a better ad, right? Because it's more organic that way. So that might be a way to do ads is take all that old content you've already created and we just put money behind it. Right.
Especially if it's a good video, but it didn't really take off because the YouTube algorithm didn't like
That's
it.
right. That's right. That's right. So we rolled up our sleeves. It didn't work. It's time
I got 2 videos. They're pretty much the same. They talk about the same thing. One's got 200,000 views. This one's got like 5,000 views. So.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. So you take that 200,000 video and you turn it into an ad, a recommended video. You get it over on the sidebar. You get it in front of other people's ads, and like maybe you can hijack some of the traffic.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So there's two. I got a couple of good questions. All right. So we'll talk about this one first. Then we'll talk about our wives. All right. So being guys from Kentucky, grew up in small towns, small counties, and we see our fair share of poverty in our areas. And I never wanted for anything, but I never had a lot. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't my mom and dad couldn't give me everything I wanted. I started driving a car in the mid 90s, but I was driving one from the mid 80s. Let's be realistic. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we had this old car, we called it the Tank, and it was this massive like 1972 Buick. I mean, it looked like an aircraft carrier. You could put a couple drones on the back of it. And dude, I used to have to, sometimes my car would break down. I'd have to drive the Tank to school. And I was so embarrassed. It was I would park behind the Votech school and walk around to get in because I was just like, oh God, I got to drive the Tank to school. But it's so stupid. Should have done that. But like, what have you learned on the other side of entrepreneurship now? One, you grew this amazing physical real world business that had great revenue and a great living. And two, we've both now seen what's possible. I mean, you can make as much money in a month as a lot of people make in a year if for probably half the work. Let's be honest, right? Has that opened your eyes to anything, changed anything, the way you look at the world or the way your kids are being raised, or like, how does that affect you guys, like now that we're on the other side of this? And to be fair to everybody out there, me and Jason are still trying to figure this out. So like, what do you think about that on the other side of it?
It's tough. It's hard. The mindset issues that I still deal with, the being able, it's tough and it's amazing all at the same time. My daughter is in, she's on the Cincinnati United Premier Cup. It's the top 10 in the country. We would have never been able to do that if it wasn't for the online business and overcoming those mindsets.
What are some of those mindset issues that helped you provide that opportunity? Like you had to get up, that you have to still fight every day,
it's just hard it's one of those things. You look at your bank account and it's just bringing in money every day as you're doing stuff. And it's one of those things of getting around. The biggest thing that has helped me more than anything is getting around like-minded people. Now, I'm kind of a introvert. I'm not really an introvert, but I don't have a lot of friends per se that I can go. I have one really good friend that's my best friend. And other than that, I don't have a lot. But what has helped me is I'm in some groups and masterminds and stuff like that, where I am in around those people that I am the low dog. And that's a good thing to be, because you can always grow up versus going down. And that has helped probably my mindset of seeing what they do and how they act. And how they interact and how to be able to keep moving on and not be overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, man. You know what I've been trying to do lately? Masterminds are important for business for sure. Like you need people doing the same kinds of businesses, right? Like if you're an insurance agent, you should have a mastermind of other insurance agents. I don't care if they're your competitors, because you all have to talk to each other, because only you can get what you do, right? And like lawyers, whatever it is, right? But especially online entrepreneurs, because it's such a weird world, I'll tell you what I've been doing lately. It's really helped me. As I've matured as a business owner, and especially after I turned 40, I'm 43 now, and I started, my kids are teenage. I'm getting in the teenage zone of things, and they're growing, and the life has become vastly more complicated with flipped lifestyle growing, and so many people and a team and a family and everything else. I have been really seeking out mentors and masterminds of much older people. I've been looking for people who have college age kids, right? I've been looking for people who have businesses that are transforming, where they're really evolving out of things and they're doing, but not that they're retiring. I never want to retire. I want to die with a pen and a paper in my hand planning tomorrow, right? I'm serious. I do not, retirement is not a word that I'm not stopping. I'm a shark. I'm going to keep going, right? Because if I stop, I'll drown, But I've been trying to like put myself in life. I've been looking at life people better. Like when I see a mastermind, I'm not like, I want to get in there because they're successful. I'm going to be like, whoa, that dude is successful and he's still married. And he's got good kids, and he's got goals, and he's got dreams, right? Like one guy I respect a lot, and he's probably listening to this because he likes this podcast, is Dan Miller. Dan, I love you, man. You're amazing. Like watching guys like Dan Miller and Aaron Walkers and people like that, like Michael Hyatt's, and like guys that love their families, and keep setting goals and keep having dreams. Like that's really what you got to look for if you're going to, like, especially when you don't come from success. Well, I'm not saying that. My dad was he's a successful guy, but like you don't come from money. You don't come from this, and you're not, and you don't understand how to juggle these variables of like, it is weird getting up every day and money appearing. Like it's not when you're used to waiting for a paycheck every 2 weeks. Like you wake up every day in the membership game, guys, and like, like you'll just have $5,000 just out of nowhere. And it'll just be like, where did that come from? Why did that happen? I got paid today. I don't have to wait for it. Now I got to pay other people, but because they help me make it. But like all those things that keep getting added to your plate. Right. And I think that's what holds people back. Like some people get comfortable in that routine of not having all these things to quote unquote worry about or excel at. And that's what helps me get past that mindset issue, man. It's just like looking ahead at wise. I'm looking for wisdom, not knowledge at this point. And I wish I'd done it sooner,
I agree. And, it's one of those things that I look at too of how can I help other people, not just in the pressure washing business, but help. And that's kind of helped me look at other things too on the side of that way too, because I mean, I do have some hobbies. One of my hobbies is I'm on Boone County Water Rescue here. So we go out and do that kind of stuff. And it's not the fun stuff at all. But, and that's kind of helps with my mindset there. But just the mindset of the poor mentality it's hard to get out of that mindset when that's what you've been growing up with. And, I really haven't been successful. I mean, we did $1 million business in pressure washing, but as well as I do, when you're in a business like that, you made $1 million, but 950 of it went out.
That's right, man. Yeah, and you're working 60 hours a week to do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, it can easily creep on you like that. Another way that I fight the worst plateau we ever hit was right around $40,000 a month when we were doing elementary librarian, because we fell into this dangerous trap. Okay, that was when we crossed the threshold in my mind of literally making more a month than my teaching job. So this weird, two things happened. Me and Jocelyn have identified this looking back at it. Number one, we really got complacent, I think. We got to a place where we were like, this is ridiculous. Like this was not even remotely on our radar was possible a couple of years ago. So it was like you had been transported to another planet. Right. So we're making that and we're doing that and we're looking at that and we're just like cruise control at that point. But here's the problem. Entropy takes over. And if you're not growing, you're dying. That's the most true thing I've ever heard in my life. Because as soon as you rest and stop trying to grow and you're like, I'm putting it on cruise control, I'm retiring, right? Like in my 30s. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's when that problem happens, complacency. So if you're growing up to that, guys, right now, get ready. You think you're special, snowflake, but you ain't, and you're going to get there.
That's where I'm at right now.
Right, I know. I mean, seriously,
I've been at about 30,000 for about the last 6-7 months.
I know, man. And you're like, I can get up and go get in my car and go get a coffee and not do anything. right? And then you just get stuck. And it's so weird, man. I hear this all the time. So that's a weird plateau to be in the complacency side of things, right? And then the other, that at the same time, that plateau, we experienced a weird, what does Jocelyn call it? She has a word for this. She says, like you want to return to the status quo. These new pressures emerge when you're trying to impact the world and you're trying to grow your business. And it's these weird pressures that, honest to God, y'all, nobody tells you about in school. It's not their fault, but your parents didn't know about it. They don't know about this. They never experienced it. And probably based on math, 80% of humans don't get to experience these pressures and these weird things that appear in your life when you're trying to impact the world and grow your business. So there's this part of our life that wants to return back to the old equilibrium. When you feel it's like you've figured out, there's two ways I could describe this. It's like how you figured out how to kill a saber-toothed tiger if you were a caveman. You're like, I got the saber-toothed tiger. I kill those things every time. And then you're like, I wonder if there's anything good to eat in the other valley. And you go over there and there's a T-Rex. And you're like, oh God, I'm going back to my old problems. That saber-toothed tiger was way easy to kill. I'm going to go kill that guy. Right? That's it. But it's also like in parenting, just when you think you've got one stage figured out. 3 years old, man, I got this. This is crazy. Then something triggers in their brain and their body and they change. And you're not prepared for it. And a new problem emerges that you just don't even understand, right? But in that issue, you can go ask your parents what happened. But in the other issue, you can't because nobody in your immediate circle can really go. So you got to seek those mentors out and do that. But it's a weird thing, man. I mean, you're not alone, dude. I feel it. Even at the stage we're at now, I feel it. Like, it's like bizarre.
Sometimes you just want to crawl back and be like, I can be a fireman on the truck and not do anything. Don't have to worry about nothing.
I could be coaching football on Friday nights and just be broke. Oh man, I get exactly right. I'll just be broke, man. And but sometimes too, I think like your heart's amazing because you want to impact people and you really want to help people. And my mission is to help people. That's all I want, So impact is a weird thing to grow too. Money sometimes I feel like is the easier thing to stabilize and grow. At times, but like impact is weird, man, because sometimes you're trying so hard to get more people to pay attention to what you're saying. And it's hard to, it's almost a more zero-sum game because these knuckleheads that are preaching horrible gospels like Gary Vee and all that stuff, like these people are hurting the world and you're trying to like, why are they paying attention to them but me?
And that's the thing that I've been hitting here lately, because there's been everybody and their brother wanting to start up a business kind of like I'm doing right now in the training world, of even on the pressure washing side. And, they're starting up their YouTube channels and stuff like that. But then I'm going to go back to the ad side of things. It's like, I need to push them to do it more so I can put my ads on their stuff. And then that way I
definitely don't have that scarcity mentality. It's more the fight or flight. It's like, because I mean, like I could do it. I've told Jocelyn this before. I mean, we could do like coaching and just do like 3 groups and probably make plenty of money,
Right.
But that doesn't give you your real goal of impact and things like that. It's a weird thing, man, and think about this. Everybody talks about the 1% and then there's the 9% and then there's the 89%, right? Or whatever. I don't even know if that math added up right,
Kentucky math.
That's Kentucky math, baby. You get it. You understand. 85% of people do not have the experience or people in their life to help them through entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? It's like 4% of the world are even entrepreneurs. So it's just really, really tough when you come from a normal middle-class background and in your 30s, you decide to do something different.
Well, and I just read a book here recently, and that kind of ties this to a little bit of, of finding the who, not how. Finding who can I put in those spots and let them do it. Because when I do the how and I try to do it all myself and we
fall back to that. Back
to that. That's horrible. If I can find the who and put all of the responsibility on them, that is the important part, because then they will thrive right then. Because, for even building a website, I can tell you how, but if I put somebody that's in charge of that, of who can do it and let them do it and be awesome at it, then it will be awesome at the end of the day.
Because you don't have to figure out everything yourself. You just got to find the people that can help you.
Exactly. And that's the thing that I've been dealing with, is trying to get out of doing everything myself. And but that's hard for me.
That's how you have to run a business until you get to a certain point. And that's just the way it is. All right. So our most important who's, and we'll finish up with this because I think this will be interesting to people, is our who's are our wives, because without them, we're probably going to be homeless. So, but like, what's it been like working with your wife? Did you all work together in the pressure washing business too?
Very little. No, she did a little bit, but not much.
So now, though, I mean, you got your wife is basically your life partner, parent partner, business partner. You're all hanging out every day, doing things together. How has that changed your life for good? Changed your life for difficulty? Because it is, Jocelyn always says, we bring out the best in each other, but occasionally the worst, right? So how's that been like working with your spouse?
It's good. I would love for her to do more in the business side of things, but we homeschool our kids, and she's a full-time wife or, housekeeper and all the other things that we probably need to start figuring out how to hire that out, but can't find nobody. But on the side of it, we became a lot closer. We go over the business, some of the stresses. One of the stressors for her is the whole, she does all the accounting and numbers and all of that kind of stuff. And, trying to figure out, with dealing with our accountant and all of the stuff that goes.
Seeing every dollar going in and out is stressful. Like, it doesn't matter if you're winning. It's stressful.
Trying to figure out where to put this money so you're not paying buku loads of money in taxes either.
Yes, sir.
Living through your business, as my CPA tells me. But it's hard, at the end of the day. It's really hard when you're dealing with the numbers that we've been dealing with. And so that's the hard part. But the good part of it is we have become closer. I'll go do a training and I'll be gone, and my kids are like, "Where's Daddy at?" Because I'm always home now. And
that's a weird thing too, like being with everybody all the time.
But it's been amazing to see, especially my youngest daughter. My oldest daughter loves me to death. My youngest daughter, she could care less about me. Not really, but that's the way she's just got that attitude, that mentality of it. But even her, like, I'll go away a day or two and she'll be like, "Where's Daddy at?" Before she'd be like,
Anna Jo's like that too. She's so independent, but when I'm gone, she's like, "What? Wait, what's happening around here?"
Exactly. And so it's been my wife and I have, like I said, we've come close. We try to do a trip at least quarterly, just us to go work on business side of things, planning, figuring out what we can do to do better. It gives her a little bit of time. She's really good at writing emails, stuff like that. So she can do a lot of that stuff at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a dance, I wouldn't change it for anything, but it is a dance, especially when you have two ideas of what to do next and you got to like navigate that. I mean, it's like a business partner, but the problem is you live and go to bed with your business partner. So it's like, you got to watch the boundaries are weird, man. Like of how you go in and out of, like, I'm parenting 1 minute, I'm husbanding 1 minute, I'm business running 1 minute, I'm leading a team 1 minute, I'm serving my community 1 minute. Like,
and there's nobody to teach you any of this stuff either. Out there at the end
That's even a rarer air is husband and wife running a business together. It is tough to find that, man, where you're actually blending it all. And, like you have like some people who like have defined roles, like don't even talk about business with their husband, even though they work at home, or their wife or whatever, both ways. And like, I know why. We've got a friend whose husband is the opposite, takes care of the kids, does everything, and she runs the business. And they love it. It's amazing. And it's like, but that's just when you combine the two, it's powerful because you have both people. And when you have two really good people in one place doing one thing, it's amazing. But man, it can be super.
And she's my best cheerleader too, and that always helps me out too, And I mean, I get emails all the time telling me, "Hey, Jason, I made $20,000. It changed my life," And so sometimes she gets aggravated. She's like, "Yeah, you get all these people telling you about, all these great stories and success stories, and
they don't see me doing the book, so you can do all those things." That's what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, man, it's weird, man. It's just the weirdest. It's just absolutely the weirdest situation ever. But man, I wouldn't change it, dude. Like this weekend, it's funny. how your schedule works. Like I'm going to the wilderness down in Gatlinburg this weekend, and we're going to we have a cheerleading competition on Saturday, but we're going to spend a couple of days there. And I got some stuff I got to do. Right. So one morning I rented a cabana so I can sit in the cabana, and then I can go play and ride slides. And then me and Jocelyn can, go hang out while Anna's up on stage or whatever, and like, it's like this weird thing, man, where you've got to really be able to block and switch and shift and pivot. And, and then you got to figure out when they're mad at you. Like, are you mad at me because of something I did in the business or something that I did as a husband? Did I parent? What did I do wrong here, baby? And like, you got to figure out, like, there's more like to filter through, like to understand.
And even with the entrepreneur mind, it never shuts off a business wise. I'm always thinking something, and she'll be like, "Will you quit thinking about business?" I'm like, I can't.
It's my hobby. I told Jocelyn that one day. I said, "Listen," because she was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Jocelyn, I try. I do." Like sometimes I can turn it off when I'm playing Xbox with my brother, but I can't turn it off most of the time. I just cannot, because I truly like the last 2 days. This is no joke. I have been so in flow podcasting the last couple of days. I've been doing all kinds of podcasts and videos and stuff. And you know me, man, I love video and talking, right? Dude, I forgot to eat 2 days in a row. I did. I forgot to eat 2 days ago. I got home and I was like, why am I so hungry? And I hadn't eaten. I did the same thing the next day. And I'll tell you right now, man, it's almost noon and I still haven't eaten. So I'm going to have to wrap this up, man, because I'm not going to eat no food today and I'm going to keep getting skinny. That might be a good thing. I don't know, man. Hey, brother, listen, man, I'm proud of you, dude. You all have done some amazing things. And, I know that, like, you're on the roller coaster now and it's just the ups and downs and crushing it. And I have no doubt you're going to grow this into something crazy, even bigger than it is right now, man. And I always use you as an example everywhere I go, man, of what's possible online, because I have talked to you in person when you were almost at zero, right? And you did the work to become a membership master and create these amazing opportunities for your kids and these awesome opportunities for your marriage and your spouse and for you guys to work together. And you're out there really doing a big thing in the world, man. Not everybody can do what I teach, right? Online. Not everybody can be an online entrepreneur. And there's this whole other group of people out there that could be an offline entrepreneur. And like, you're really, really serving an amazing group of people and helping them do that, dude. So thanks for coming on the show, man, and talking. Appreciate it. And can't wait to see what happens. Hey, if anybody wants to be a pressure washer, tell them where to go.
kingofpressurewash.com.
He's got the best t-shirts in the industry, people. I'm telling you, he's got the crown and everything. It's amazing. Man, what an amazing conversation with Jason Geiman. After we recorded this podcast, I had the great pleasure of hanging out with Jason and his wife, Jody. We met up for lunch, had an amazing barbecue salad, and I ate about 500 of these little cheese jalapeno things, and they were absolutely delicious. I'm talking dangerous, y'all. Like, I'm glad I got out of that restaurant because I'd still be eating them if I didn't. But, man, we had a great time talking business, talking about our families, and talking about life. And I'm so proud of everything Jason has accomplished. He is a real inspiration and a model for what's possible when you start, build, and grow an online business. And the best place to start, build, and grow an online business is over at flippedlifestyle.com. Today's podcast is brought to you by the Flipped Lifestyle community. That's the community that I started with my wife, Jocelyn, to help other family-focused entrepreneurs start an online business, build an online business, and grow an online business. We've helped thousands of people from all over the world find and use their God-given talents and experiences to create amazing online businesses, amazing membership websites. All you need is 100 people to pay you $50 a month to make $60,000 a year. Or if you get 200 people, that's $120,000 a year. It's all possible by taking the things you love, taking the things you know, taking those talents and experiences, and using them to build an online business. We'd love to help you start, build, and grow an online business. I'd love to help you personally change your family's future, just like we did with Jason and Jody. All you have to do to get started is go to flippedlifestyle.com/free. That's FLIPPED lifestyle.com/free. And you can check out the entire Flipped Lifestyle community program today. All right, y'all, that is all the time we have for this episode of the show. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found today's podcast valuable. If you did, could you do me a favor? Go subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you could, please leave me a 5-star rating and a review. I read every single review, and I cannot wait to read yours. After that, go tell a friend about the podcast and have them do the same. I'd also love to connect with you on social media. You can follow me on Twitter at Shane_Sams. Feel free to tweet me at any time. And if you want to learn more about how I became a self-employed, location-independent, family-focused online entrepreneur, and if you want to find out how you can do the same, head over to ShaneSams.com and learn all about my community and my online business coaching program. That's all I've got, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, remember these words I live by. Dream big. Take massive action. Be consistent. Be prolific. Be relentless. And do whatever it takes to take control of your life and change your family's future. I'll see you next time.